Good day. Let us talk about the philosophy of education that is extremely emerging and effective during these trying times due to the COVID-19 outbreaks. It is indeed true that the pandemic has had a great impact on many aspects of our lives. One of them is its impact on education that led to the implementation of distance learning, wherein the learning is done through self-learning modules or SLM, as well as the effectiveness of modern technologies such as mobile phone or devices, laptops, computers, and the like for virtual classes. But before any further, let me quickly define what the philosophy of education refers to. Well, the philosophy of education pertains to the ideas or ethics that have a significant influence and linkage on how the education system works. For instance, the teaching pedagogy and methodology. The philosophy of education has a great influence on every concept and aspect of an accredited educational institution or any systematic education itself.
So, what are the philosophies of education nowadays that are being applied and widely exist in the prevailing remote learning system? From our observation, there's no massive difference in the application of philosophy of education between the traditional way of learning in school, face-to-face classes, and the current system of education. It's just that in this present way of learning, students are being taught remotely with the help of technology, particularly those who are enrolled in synchronous classes.
We could say that the emerging philosophies of education and its learning are a combination of the contemporary philosophies of education that are based on the three basic philosophical foundations of education, which are idealism, realism, and lastly, pragmatism. Let's begin with the virtual class. In particular, that uses modern technology, which could be linked with the realist perspective, since their prayer focus is the reality of physical object. They have an objective perspective here which is wholly distinct from face-to-face or traditional education.
On the other hand, the application of the philosophy of education when it comes to the curriculum, teaching methodology, and teaching pedagogy has no distinction from the way of teaching in school previously and today's method of instruction, both of which are being implemented with the application of the contemporary philosophies of perennialism, progressivism, and existentialism's point of view. For instance, student A was not able to cope with the synchronous class better than the asynchronous class, while student B was able to cope and learn, in contrast to student A.
Hi Daniel, have you understood the discussion yesterday?
Yes, I think yesterday's session was quite comprehensive.
That's great for you then, but to be honest, I wasn't able to cope with the synchronous class. Maybe because of the noise that distracted me here?
Oh, sorry to hear that, but you can reach out to me so I can help you as much as I can for you to understand our lessons.
Really? That would be greatly appreciated. That scenario is from the existentialist's point of view, since its subjectivity is perceptible. In existentialism, the students also have liberation and decision making for themselves that would drive them to self fulfillment. Scenario 2. The two students are having a conversation regarding the teacher's given activity that they have to accomplish on or before the deadline.
Hello, Rochelle. If I'm not mistaken, you are my partner in the activity assigned to us at our most recent meeting.
I almost forgot about it. Thank you for reminding me.
So let's accomplish it well together.
Yes, of course. I'll send you my part later.
Yes, please, for me to compile it with mine and for us to submit it before the deadline.
That scenario is from the progressivist's point of view, where the philosophical basis is the philosophy of pragmatism, since they are executing the given activity by themselves that allows them to explore and acquire learning by encountering actual contexts.
Scenario 3. An educator exhibiting pedagogical competency.
Good morning, class.
Good
Morning,
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 ma'am.
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 We will now jump to the discussion regarding the philosophy of education. This will be the objectives as we go through the lesson. You will be able to define the philosophy of education. You will gain a wider understanding of the three basic philosophical foundation of education and its application through the five contemporary philosophies. Who has an idea about the philosophy of education or what comes to your mind when you hear the word philosophy itself?
That scenario is greatly influenced by the perennialist's point of view, and its philosophical basis is the philosophy of realism. The scenario shows the mastery of an educator in her pedagogical competency. Perennialism is the most applied and effective philosophy in the education system nowadays, as it gives importance to students' education in terms of becoming critical and rational thinkers. Thank you for watching.